Amara had been working at Langford's Fine Dining for only 3 weeks, but it already felt like a lifetime. The restaurant was elegant, quiet, and full of people who barely noticed the waitstaff. Every night she stood on her aching feet, balancing plates, pouring water, and enduring complaints about cold soup, slightly warm bread, or the shine on a wine glass. She had done hard work before, cleaning offices, selling coffee at bus stations. But this job was different. Here, the white shirt, dark apron, and name tag made her visible, yet visibility carried risk. Some people looked down when they saw you. Her life outside the restaurant was modest. She lived alone in a small apartment with thin walls and a rattling ceiling fan. Every morning she rode the bus across town, scanning job ads on her phone and hoping for something better. Her dream was simple: a stable life, her own place, and enough money to send home to her mother. That Friday evening, the restaurant was busier than usual, fragrant with roasted garlic and wine. Amara moved with steady hands despite her tired legs. Around 8 p.m., the hostess announced, "Table 12, Mr. Langford's reservation." The room hushed. Evan Langford, the billionaire investor and owner of the restaurant chain, had arrived. His manager rushed forward, bowing slightly. Evan entered with Talia Grayson, his girlfriend, tall, beautiful, and exuding effortless wealth. Amara could feel the air shift. Staff whispered, guests glanced nervously, and she was assigned to their table. Straightening her hair, smoothing her collar, and carrying the water tray, she approached. "Water," Talia said flatly, still scrolling her phone. Before Amara could pour, Talia snapped her fingers. The sound echoed, commanding. Amara froze briefly, but quickly refilled the glasses. She kept her expression calm, but her chest stung. Evan looked uncomfortable. As the evening progressed, small humiliations escalated. Talia complained about the soup's temperature, waved Amara away while refilling glasses, and sneered, "You practiced that fake smile in the mirror, didn't you?" The table nearby went silent. Even the pianist paused. Evan tried to intervene. "Talia, enough," he said, but Talia's casual cruelty continued. Amara's hand shook slightly as she placed the dessert on the table. Her cheeks burned, yet she refused to respond with anger. "Enjoy your evening," she said quietly and walked away. In the kitchen, other waiters exchanged sympathetic looks. No one spoke, but everyone knew Talia had crossed a line. Amara washed her hands slowly, listening only to her heartbeat, no longer the background noise of clinking glasses and laughter. For the first time, humiliation transformed into resolve. She whispered to herself, "One day, this will not be my place." The next morning, she awoke before sunrise. The rattling fan and dim light cast her small apartment in muted gold, replaying the previous evening's events. She felt calm, her mind already settling on the path forward. Dressing neatly, she tied her hair in a bun, cleaned her shoes, and muttered, "One more day." At the restaurant, whispers followed her. The manager appeared nervous. "Amara," the corporate office called. They said it's urgent. She nodded, calm. Panic never helped. By 9 a.m., she was summoned to the office. 2 men in suits stood waiting, one holding an envelope with a gold seal. "Miss Amara Duzza?" one asked. "Yes," she replied quietly. He handed the envelope. Inside were papers requesting her immediate signature. She paused. "May I read it first?" The men nodded. Scanning the first pages, she saw terms like transfer and effective immediately. She remained composed, signing the forms neatly and handing them back. The men nodded and left. The manager sighed. "I'm sorry, Amara. You've been good here." "Thank you," she replied softly. She walked out of the office calmly. Staff whispered behind her, "She's fired." Talia must have complained. But Amara said nothing, continuing her work quietly until the lunch rush ended. At 1 p.m., the front door opened, and silence fell over the restaurant. A sleek black SUV pulled up, and Evan Langford stepped out alone. No security, no assistant, no Talia. He looked serious, tired, and distant. The hostess stuttered, but he ignored her and walked straight to Amara, who was wiping a table near the window. "Miss Duzza," he said quietly, "may we speak privately?" The room froze. Even the music seemed to stop. Amara nodded and followed him to the office. Inside, he exhaled, shoulders dropping slightly. "I owe you an apology," he began. Amara folded her hands calmly. "What happened last night? It was wrong. I saw it and did nothing. I should have stopped her." "You don't have to explain, sir," she replied softly. "I think I do," he said, opening a briefcase and pulling out folders. "Talia crossed the line, not just with you, but with how she treats people. She treats them like props. Last night made me realize I cannot build my life or business around that." He slid the papers toward her. "The documents you signed this morning weren't termination papers. They were transfer papers. Effective immediately. You are the operations supervisor at Langford Estates, overseeing restaurant coordination, staff training, and client management. I've been looking for someone steady under pressure. Last night I saw that person." Amara froze. "You saw what happened?" "Everything," he said. "I was ashamed to act then, but silence can hurt more than words. I can't undo last night, but I can make something right." Her hands trembled slightly as she touched the papers. "Why me?" "Because you didn't lose your grace even when insulted. Most people, even powerful ones, can't do that. You reminded me of dignity." Amara gave a small smile. "Then I suppose I'm not the one terminated today." "No," Evan said, sliding another envelope toward her. That would be Talia. Inside was a printed memo. "Termination of partnership, Talia Grayson. She'll find another brand for her photos." Evan continued. "I, on the other hand, need people I can trust. I hope you'll accept the position." "I will, sir," Amara said, nodding. He extended his hand. She shook it firmly, noticing it wasn't the handshake of a billionaire, but a human one. When they returned to the main hall, the staff stared in disbelief. The manager looked lost. "I'll be taking Miss Duz off your roster," Evan announced. "Promoted, effective immediately." Whispers erupted, shock, disbelief, and a touch of admiration. Mira ran up to Amara. "What?" she said softly. "Promoted?" "Yes. Looks like I'll be working somewhere else now," Amara replied, smiling. She returned her apron, cleaned her last table, and gathered her belongings. Staff crowded around, congratulating her while still trying to process what had happened. Outside, the black SUV waited. For the first time, she didn't feel like a servant leaving work. She felt like someone stepping into her own story. As the tinted glass doors closed, the restaurant where she had been humiliated shrank behind her. For the first time in years, her heart felt light. She thought of her mother, recalling the words, "Keep your head high, even when others try to bend it down." Meanwhile, Talia's world began to crumble. Her phone buzzed endlessly, messages, calls, alerts. Headlines spread. Evan Langford ends partnership with Talia Grayson. Sponsors pause, followers turn cold. Her once powerful image cracked, and her smile no longer fooled anyone. The world she had ruled through arrogance was gone. Amara's world changed, too, but differently. Her apartment remained small, her life simple, but her heart was light. No anger, no bitterness, only understanding. She realized power doesn't belong to the loud, rich, or bold. It belongs to those who stay kind under cruelty and rise above humiliation. Looking out the window, she reflected on everything. The snapping fingers, the whispered insults, the silence she'd maintained. What once felt like weakness had been strength. Sometimes silence is strategy, the calm before life changes direction. Amara smiled softly. Life had given back what it had taken. Talia had wielded power to humiliate. Amara had used pain to grow. One lost everything built on pride. The other gained everything built on patience. She understood that life isn't fair every day, but it finds balance. Weeks later, when people spoke of the restaurant incident, they no longer focus on Talia's beauty or fame. They talk about Amara, the calm waitress who didn't fight back but emerged stronger. Revenge wasn't necessary. Growth was enough. Before sleeping, Amara whispered, "The best revenge is becoming someone you can be proud of." She lay down as the city hummed quietly. Life wasn't perfect, but it was hers, and that made all the difference. Amara's story reminds us, Grace under pressure is power few understand. Karma is quiet, exact, and inevitable. Those who try to humiliate you often push you closer to your destiny. Never shout to prove your worth. Let success speak. One day, the same people who underestimated you will see your name in headlines. And when that day comes, life will applaud on its own.